My mother almost gave me away for adoption until God showed her this in a dream. Sometimes life brings us to crossroads where one decision can change everything. What if the choice you made determined whether a soul would grow up in the light or be handed into darkness? This is the incredible story of a mother's divine dream, a supernatural sign, and the powerful love of God that saved the life even before it began. Here's the testimony. My mother found herself in one of the toughest situations imaginable. Pregnant, out of wedlock, filled with guilt, and uncertain about the future. She had made up her mind I was going to be adopted. Everything was set, and a family was waiting to take me in. But then, she had a dream. And not just any dream. One she believes was from God. In this dream, she was holding a tiny, naked baby bird. She stood in a place of light, but beyond the light, there was thick, dark, black darkness. And in the dream, she handed the baby bird into the darkness. When she woke up, the meaning was clear. If she gave me away, she would be sending me into the darkness, into a home where God was not present. She realized that the decision she was about to make could take me away from my destiny in Christ. She immediately called the adoptive family to tell them she was keeping me. But instead of understanding, they reacted with anger. They cursed at her, filled with rage and disappointment. And as time went on, my mother discovered something rather disturbing. The husband of that family was having an affair. He had wanted to adopt me not out of love, but to distract his wife while he lived in sin and enjoyed himself. Imagine what kind of life I might have lived if I had grown up in that environment. One without faith, one without truth, and without God. But God, He stepped in. My mother's journey didn't end there. One day, while she was still pregnant with me, she was driving, worshiping God as she often did. And then something powerful happened. The presence of God filled the car. It was overwhelming, so strong that she had to pull over. The love she felt was so immersed that she wept uncontrollably, crying out to God, almost pleading for Him to ease the intensity of His presence. She looked up and saw the clouds form a smiling face staring down at her. A sign of love, a sign of approval, a sign that God was watching over her and me. When I was finally born, something extraordinary happened. A photographer came to take my newborn picture. But when my mother picked up the looked photo, the photographer was deeply apologetic. "I'm so sorry," they said. "This has never happened before." Confused, my mother looked at the photo, and what she saw left her in awe. Above my tiny newborn head was a halo, not a camera glitch, not an editing mistake, a visible, undeniable sign, a divine signature over my life. Some might say it was a coincidence. Some might try to explain it away. But we know the truth. God had His hand over me even before I was born. This story is a powerful reminder that God sees you. Yes, you listening to me, you listening right now. God sees you. God sees me. God sees us. Even before we could take our first breath, He has a plan for each and every one of us, and He speaks to those who seek Him. Jeremiah chapter 1 verse 5, the New International Version. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. Look here. If you're facing uncertainty, if you feel like you're standing at a crossroad, wondering what decision to make, trust in God. If you're sitting with a sick one, if you're sitting with a loved one who is sick, trust in the Lord. If you're holding right now as I'm talking, holding your divorce papers or letters of eviction or letters of death, trust in God. If you have a medical report that has defied all logic and science, trust in God. His wisdom surpasses all understanding, and He will guide your steps. Psalm 32 verse 8, New International Version, says, I will instruct you and teach you in the way that you should go. I will counsel you with my loving eye on you. Oh, such a great promise from the Lord. So even when life seems dark, God's light would always break through. Have you ever seen a place that's so dark that when you turn on the light, the darkness would not disappear? God's light always shines through the dark. Even when you feel abandoned, He is with you. And even when the world says there is no way, God always makes a way. This testimony is not just a story. It's proof that God is real, and that He speaks, and that His love is relentless. If this story touched your heart, share it with someone who needs to be reminded that God still works miracles today. And if you have a testimony of your own, don't keep it to yourself. Your testimony may just be what somebody needs desperately right now. Share it in the comment section. Send it to us so we can share, so that people can know that God indeed is involved in their matter. God bless you. And remember, you are chosen. You are loved. And of course, you are never alone because God is always with you. Till I come your way next time. Bye-bye.